I hate to be the one to tell you this, but everything you've been told about alcohol, it's a lie. They say it's fun, that it makes you more confident, more social, more likable, that a drink in your hand means you're one of them. But what they don't want you to see is this. Maybe you're too young to remember, but there was a time when smoking was marketed as healthy. Doctors recommended it, celebrities endorsed it, and the world believed the lie. For decades, cigarette companies knew their product was deadly, but they hid the truth behind slick marketing, fake studies, and paid-off experts. And now, alcohol companies are doing the exact same thing. One glass of wine is good for your heart, they say. A beer a day won't hurt, they claim. But here's what they won't tell you. There is no safe amount of alcohol, not moderate drinking, not just a little for the occasion. Not even a single drop is without risk. The science is clear. The only ones still pushing the benefits of alcohol, the ones making money from it. What alcohol does inside your body. When you consume alcohol, your liver kicks into action by breaking it down into a chemical called acetaldehyde. This compound is extremely toxic, so much so that the World Health Organization has classified it as a Group 1 carcinogen, putting it in the same high-risk category as tobacco and asbestos. Fortunately, your liver works hard to counteract this threat. It converts acetaldehyde into acetate, a far less harmful substance that your body can safely process into water and carbon dioxide. However, if you drink more quickly than your liver can manage, acetaldehyde starts to build up in your system. This accumulation means your cells are exposed to more damage, leading to faster mutation rates and a significantly higher risk of cancer. Over time, the ongoing stress on your liver can lead to serious health issues like fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, and even liver failure. They say alcohol helps you relax. Bullshit. Alcohol destroys your ability to get real restorative sleep. It blocks REM sleep, the stage where your brain learns, recovers, and processes emotions. It fragments sleep cycles, making sure you wake up tired, sluggish, and unfocused, even after 8 hours. It suppresses melatonin, the hormone that controls your circadian rhythm, the master clock of your body. And without good sleep, your brain function collapses, your testosterone and muscle recovery drop, your immune system weakens. Would you willingly consume something that's scientifically proven to cause cancer? Because that's exactly what alcohol is, a carcinogen. The more you drink, the higher the risk. And the damage isn't random. Alcohol is directly linked to breast cancer, liver cancer, colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer, mouth, throat, and larynx cancers. They don't put this on the bottle. They don't mention it in the ads. But every sip you take comes with a risk they'd rather you ignore. Alcohol doesn't just cloud your judgment. It rewires and destroys your brain over time. It shrinks your hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and learning, making it harder to retain new information. Long-term use shrinks your prefrontal cortex, the area that controls decision-making, self-control, and rational thinking. It raises the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, accelerating brain aging and cognitive decline. Every drink chips away at the very thing that makes you you. They say alcohol makes you happy. The truth? It's one of the strongest depressants known to man. It drains serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that keep you motivated and happy. It tricks your brain into dependency, making social situations feel unbearable without alcohol. It exacerbates anxiety the next day, leading to the dreaded hangxiety. You drink to feel better. But in reality, it's the alcohol that made you feel worse in the first place. They say it's your choice. The drinking only affects you, but it couldn't be less true. Because alcohol doesn't just poison your body, it poisons everything around you. Your decisions, your relationships, and sometimes innocent lives. Alcohol doesn't just loosen you up, it strips away your ability to think before you act. It shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control, logic, and decision-making. It boosts dopamine and lowers inhibition, making people reckless, aggressive, and dangerously impulsive. And when impulsive people make bad choices, it doesn't just affect them. It destroys everything in its path, every single day. Someone dies because of a drunk driver. Alcohol slows reaction time. It blurs vision and distorts depth perception. It makes people think they're in control when they're absolutely not. And the numbers? Drunk driving kills one person every 39 minutes in the US alone. Over 30% of fatal crashes involve alcohol. Even at low levels, your ability to react is already impaired, long before you feel drunk. And yet, people still say, "I'm fine to drive," until they aren't, until a kid crossing the street doesn't make it home, until a family loses a mother, a father, a child, all because someone thought one more drink wouldn't hurt. But it does, and it always will. They say alcohol helps people bond, that it brings people together. Tell that to the millions of victims of domestic violence. Here's the brutal truth. Alcohol is a major factor in over 50% of domestic violence cases. It increases aggression, lack of impulse control, and emotional instability. It turns minor arguments into life-threatening situations. This is what alcohol really does to families. It doesn't just hurt the person drinking, it turns homes into war zones. And yet, the alcohol industry tells you it's all about fun. What's fun about terrorizing the people you claim to love? You think drinking is just your business? Guess what? We all pay for it. Public health systems are drowning under the weight of alcohol-related diseases, injuries, and violence. Alcohol costs the US economy $250 billion every year. Over 75% of that cost comes from binge drinking. Emergency rooms overflow with people suffering from alcohol poisoning, liver failure, and drunk driving injuries. And guess where that money comes from? Taxpayers. People who don't even drink. We all pay for the damage alcohol causes, with our money, with our safety, with our lives. Here's what I wish someone had told me when I started drinking early. Your brain doesn't fully develop until around the age of 25, and alcohol hijacks that development. It shrinks the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control. It disrupts the hippocampus, which controls memory and learning, meaning every drink makes you worse at retaining information. It rewires the reward system, making you more prone to addiction later in life. The younger you start drinking, the more damage you do, and the harder it is to stop. And yet, alcohol is everywhere, at high school parties, at college events, at every social gathering where people just want to fit in. But what if I told you that fitting in isn't worth losing control of your own brain? So if you're under 25, listen to me. You don't need alcohol. You don't need it to be social. You don't need it to be liked. You don't need it to be successful. What you do need is your brain, your future, your health. And alcohol will only take those things away. What? You're not drinking? Are you okay? Come on, just one. Try quitting alcohol, and you'll quickly realize something unsettling. Drinking is one of the few activities where, if you don't participate, people assume or even accuse you of having a problem. Most people think withdrawal only applies to alcoholics. They believe that if you're just a social drinker, quitting should be easy. But here's the truth. If you've been drinking regularly, whether it's a glass of wine with dinner or a few beers on the weekend, your body has adapted. And when you stop, expect to feel things you didn't anticipate. Anxiety for no reason. Irritability over the smallest things. Mental fog, struggling to focus. Restlessness, like something is missing. And you know what? Something is missing. A substance your brain has been trained to rely on. It's not just a habit. It's not just social pressure. It's chemical warfare against your mind and body. And the alcohol industry, they love that you don't know this. Even if you're not a heavy drinker, quitting will put you face to face with an enemy you didn't expect. The people around you, friends, family, even strangers, will question your choice. Not because they care about you, but because they don't want to question their own habits. And here's the harsh truth. Alcohol doesn't just stay in your glass. It seeps into your routines, your relationships, your very identity. What starts as just one becomes a regular part of your life. Eventually, it becomes a dependency. As F. Scott Fitzgerald wisely said, first you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes you. You start out thinking it's your choice, but before you know it, alcohol is calling the shots. And by the time you realize it, you're already trapped in the cycle. Alcohol is everywhere. It's at dinners, it's at birthdays, at weddings, work events, and even funerals. It's built into the fabric of our social lives, but you have the power to choose how you respond to it. The hardest part of quitting isn't the alcohol itself, it's the people around you, the friends who mock your decision, the family members who assume you have a problem, the coworkers who make drinking part of social bonding. But here's the truth they won't tell you. If your decision to stop drinking makes people uncomfortable, it's because they don't want to confront their own drinking habits. You quitting forces them to ask themselves, why do I drink? And most people don't want to answer that question. So they'll push you to just have one, not because they care about you, but because they don't want to face their own reality. And if you cave, if you take that just one, you stay exactly where they are, stuck. What happens when you quit? At first, you feel off, like something's missing, because your brain is craving the chemical hit it's used to. Your social life feels awkward. You don't know what to do with yourself. But then, you start to notice things. You wake up clear-headed instead of exhausted. You have more energy, more focus, more control. Your skin improves, your anxiety decreases. Your sleep becomes deep, real, restorative. And the biggest realization, you never needed alcohol in the first place. Let's get one thing straight. The alcohol industry doesn't care about you. They've been lying to you for years, selling you poison wrapped in shiny packaging. They don't care about your health, your dreams, or your future. They care about profits. And the worst part, they've convinced you that their lies are the truth. But here's the thing. Knowledge is not power until it's applied. Dale Carnegie. You've got the knowledge now. You know the risks. You know the truth. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep drinking their lies, or are you going to act and break free?